everybody. I just made a little video that goes with one of the problems in your assignment, homework 9, and I call it the jumping grasshopper. And I'd like to go through it with you right now to help you out on these types of problems. Okay, this is a scenario where we have a grasshopper who jumps off the ground at an initial speed. This tells us it is 8 feet per second. This is the upward speed. And so he goes a distance of 8 feet per second times however many seconds it takes him to jump up. But he's being pulled down by the effect of gravity. So we've done a few problems like this back in one of our homeworks. I think it was homework 7, where the effect of gravity counteracts the upward initial velocity, basically the speed that he can jump up at, to arrive at some height. This is the height in feet. So everything always falls. This is science. We got this from science. It falls at 16 feet, so it's negative, per second squared. And this is, it's going up, it's coming down. There's two forces working on this grasshopper at once. But at any rate, he goes up a height of 1 foot. And what we want to know is how many seconds? How many seconds does that take him? So what we're going to do is, to solve this equation, we're going to set y, the height, equal to 1. And we're asking the question, when will he be 1 foot high? So there's the gravity effect plus his initial upward velocity. Okay, so the distance he goes up and the distance that pulls him back down. So when is he going to be exactly 1 foot over the ground? So this is a quadratic equation. There's a squared term, a linear t to the first, and there's a constant. But I got to get this over on the other side, because I can't solve a quadratic equation unless it's set equal to 0, all these terms. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. So minus 1 minus 1. So I'm left with 0 equals negative 16t squared plus 8t minus 1. Okay, now I'm going to factor this to find out what's the value of t, that puts him at a height of 1 foot. What's the number of seconds? But I don't like factoring with a negative leading coefficient. I just don't like that. So I can actually do a little trick, which is multiply every term on both sides by the same thing and make that go away. And I'm going to multiply both sides of this equation by negative 1. When I multiply the 0 by negative 1, it's still 0. Okay, so if I go like that, it's still a 0. If I multiply every term on this side by negative 1, every term changes sign. So negative 1 times negative 16t squared makes this positive. Negative 1 times 8t makes that negative. Negative 1 times negative 1 makes that positive. Just a little trick we use in algebra to make things prettier. Okay, now when I go to factor this, I ask myself, I start at the top of the list, I say, is there a greatest common factor? Not between all 3 terms. So then the next thing I ask is this one of the special patterns? And I notice that this is a perfect square, and its square root is 4t. And this is a perfect square. The square root of 1 is 1. And it's a trinomial. This might be the perfect square trinomial pattern. So let's look. The square root of 16t squared is a 4 for the 16 and a t for the t squared. The square root of 1 is a 1. If I multiply these together, 1 times 4t, and double it times 2, do I get the middle term? 4t times 2 is 8t, and I do. And so if this is a minus, I know that this is a minus. And it means what I have is this is equivalent to 4t minus 1 times 4t minus 1. And this is why. I'll just prove it. When I FOIL this out, I get 16t squared minus 4t, and then another minus 4t. So there's my negative 8t and a plus 1. Okay. So now I've got 0 equals this. So now I know that this really means 4t minus 1 twice, right? Just next to each other. But I'm going to get the same root either way. I'm going to get the same solution. So I say, what value does t have to be to make this whole thing equal to 0? So what value makes 4t equal minus 1 equals 0, and I solve for t. So I set the factor equal to 0 and solve for the variable. So if I add 1 to both sides, 4t is 1, and then divide both sides by 4, t is 1/4. Okay, that is 1/4 second. Okay, 1/4 second, or you could put it as 0.25 seconds. And if you put that into your calculator and you take 1/4 and square it and multiply it by -16, and you multiply 8 by 1/4, that gets you a 2. This will be the sum of these two will be the +1 that you set up right here. So anyway, you can try that out, but that is getting you started hopefully on some of these problems. So good luck and see you soon.